Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at Lesson 5.2, Solving Systems of Linear Equations by Substitution. We're going to be looking for 6 things today to write down, so let's go ahead and get started. Yesterday we solved systems of linear equations by graphing, so today we're going to look at how to substitute. The first thing we're going to write down are the 3 steps of how you would actually do this. Step 1 says to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. Usually that would be x or y. Sometimes your variables might differ, especially if you're doing a word problem, but that's okay. Once you solve for one of the equations for x or for y, then you're going to substitute the expression from step 1 into the other equation and solve for the other variable. And then once you're done, you can check your answers by substituting the value from step 2 into one of the original equations and then solve. I know this is a lot of wordy stuff and it probably doesn't make sense right now, but go ahead and take time now to pause right here so you can write the 3 steps down, and then once you're done, click play so you can see how it's done. So here's an example of what you would be seeing in your homework tonight, or how to solve by substitution. It says solve the system of linear equations by substitution. So the very first thing I'm going to do is solve for one of the variables. And if you notice, this one is already solved for y, so I'm going to use this one. It says y is equal to negative 2x minus 9. Okay, so what that means I can do is maybe plug in this y is equal to this y right here. So this is what that would look like. 6x minus 5, and instead of y, I'm going to plug in what y is equal to. Negative 2x minus 9, parentheses, and then equals negative 19. Okay, I'm going to go and simplify it, combine some like terms. I'm going to do negative 5 times negative 2x, that's positive 10x, and then negative 5 times negative 9 is a positive 45. Equal to negative 19, I'm going to bring down the 6x. Now I can combine like terms. 6x and 10x give me 16x. Now I'm going to subtract 45 from both sides. These are both negative, so I'm going to technically add those together, so I'm going to get negative 64. And then I'm ready to divide both sides by 16 to get x all by itself, so x is equal to negative 4. Okay? What I can do now is, now that I know x is equal to negative 4, what I'm going to do is take that where y is already solved for and plug in x right here where that x is originally. So y is equal to negative 2, and instead of saying negative 2x, I'm going to say negative 2 times negative 4, because I just said that x was equal to negative 4, and then minus 9. Okay, negative 2 times negative 4 is 8, and 8 minus 9 is negative 1, so y is equal to negative 1. So because y is equal to negative 1 and x is equal to negative 4, my solution is this coordinate, negative 4, negative 1. And you do want to put it in ordered pair form, just like we did yesterday with graphing. Okay? So once again, I solved for y, but that was already done for me, so this was step 1. Step 2 was plugging it in over here. And then step 3, once I solved for the x, I plugged it back in to the original equation. Okay? So here's one that you're going to try. It does look like y is already solved for, so maybe you can plug that in to something else. I would maybe even think about getting x by itself if you wanted to. Either way, you can go ahead and solve for y so that you can go ahead and solve for x. So let's go ahead and pause right now so you can try it by yourself. And once you're done, click play. Alright, so what I did here is I had y is equal to 3x plus 14 for one of them, and I have y is equal to negative 4x. Because I already have y solved, what I did is I went ahead and maybe just combined like terms or solved for a different variable here. So for like this one says y is equal to negative 4x, so I'm just going to plug this in right here. So it's going to be negative 4x is equal to 3x plus 14. So I'm basically just substituting. I'm going to combine like terms, so I'm going to get my x's on one side. So I get negative 7x is equal to 14. So that means x will be equal to negative 2. Okay? Now so that was technically like step 1 and 2 because they were already solved for me. Now what I can do is take this is step 3, and plug in this negative 2 to this original equation up here. So y is equal to negative 4, parentheses, whatever x was, which was negative 2, so y is equal to 8. So if x is equal to negative 2 and y is equal to 8, my solution is negative 2, 8. And then just put that in ordered pair form. Okay? Here's another one we're going to try. This one, it already has y already solved for you, so I would maybe use that to your advantage so you don't have to rewrite any equations there. Let's go ahead and pause, try steps 1, 2, and 3, and then once you're done, click play. Okay, because it says y is equal to 1/2 x minus 1, I'm going to take this entire situation and plug it into this y right here. So I will have 3x plus 2 times y, and y, remember, is 1/2 x minus 1, and that is equal to 0. Okay, so notice how I have both x's now in the equations. That means I can solve for x instead of just having two different variables. I'm going to go ahead and distribute so I can combine like terms. I'll get 3x plus, and then 2 times 1/2 is 1x. I'm just going to write a 1 in front of that so I don't forget. And 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. That's all equal to 0. Okay? Combining like terms, I can get these x's together to make 4x, and I'm going to add 2 to the other side so I can get 4x is equal to 2. Then I divide both sides by 4. X is equal to 1/2. Cool? Now I'm going to take this x and plug it back in to my original equation. So y is equal to 1/2 x, so 1/2 times 1/2 minus 1. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4, so I'm basically just subtracting 1/4 from 1. That's going to give me negative 3/4. So y is equal to negative 3/4, x is equal to 1/2. I'm going to write my solution as 1/2, comma, negative 3/4. Okay. If you had the decimal equivalent, that would be fine as well. Here's another one we're going to try. Again, see how x is already solved for us, so let's use that to our advantage. Don't try to rewrite an equation to where the x is solved by itself in another part. Let's go ahead and pause here so you can try by substitution, and then once you're done, click play. So I'm going to plug this x into this x over here. So I'll have 4 parentheses 6y minus 7 plus y is equal to negative 3. I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So 4 times 6y is 24y. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And then plus y equals negative 3. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is going to combine my like terms. 24y and y make 25y. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this 28 to the other side. With that negative 3, I get 25y is equal to 25, so y is equal to 1. Since y is equal to 1, I'm going to plug it back into my other equation. X is equal to 6 times 1 minus 7. That's basically 6 minus 7, which is negative 1. So x is equal to negative 1, y is equal to 1. My solution is negative 1, comma 1. And just make sure it's in ordered pairs. Okay. Number 5, this is the last one we'll look at this, and then we'll talk about one more problem that is in a word problem. So solve the system of linear equations by substitution, check your solution. With these, notice that neither x nor y is solved for. So you kind of get to choose. Maybe looking at this one, it'd be easiest to solve for either x or y. Whatever you choose, as long as you are solving correctly, you still should get the same answer as me once you see mine done. So let's go ahead and pause and try this one on your own, and then click play once you're done to check your work. All right, for number 5, I actually chose to come over here and add 3x to both sides so that I can get y by itself and everything would be positive over here. So y is equal to 3x plus 6. So I'm going to plug this guy in over here. So I'll have x plus 3x plus 6 equals negative 2. Combine like terms, I get 4x, and then subtract 6 from both sides to get x by itself, I get negative 8. X is equal to negative 2. Then I can take this x is equal to negative 2 and plug it back into that y is equal to. So y equals 3 parentheses negative 2 plus 6. That is negative 6 plus 6, so y is equal to 0. So my answer for number 5 would be negative 2, comma, 0. Okay, so whether you tried to solve it a different way, you should still get -2 for x and 0 for y. If not, you maybe need to come back and rework some of those problems. The last one is a word problem, and you will have two different equations. Okay, so there will be two linear equations that you'll write. A drama club earns $1,000, $1,040 from a production. A total of 64 adult tickets and 132 student tickets are sold. Next equation. An adult ticket costs twice as much as the student one. Write a system of linear equations that represents the situation. What is the price of each ticket? I would maybe just say A represents adult tickets and S represents student tickets, because that's easier for me to keep up with. What you're going to do though is try to write two equations first. So if you want to pause it and write your equations first, and then click play to make sure your equations are written correctly, you can. Otherwise, if you feel like your equations are written correctly, go ahead and write your equations and solve to find the price of each ticket. Okay? All right, so what I did here, I know that my cost of the production, I earned $1,040. And it says a total of 64 adult tickets were sold, so that's 64A, plus 132 S for student. Okay, so that's my first equation. 64A is equal to 132S, or 64A plus 132S is equal to 1040. And then the next one says an adult ticket costs twice as much as the student one. So what that would look like is you would have maybe adult is equal to 2 times S. Okay, so now that I have solved for A, I can maybe plug this back in to this guy over here. So these are my two equations. I'm going to go ahead and start solving. So if A is equal to 24S, I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So 64A would be 64 times 2S plus 132S is equal to 1,040. 64 times 2 is 128, so that's 128S plus 132S equals 1040. If I add both of these numbers together, I'm going to get 260S equals 1040. And then divide both sides by 260. I get S is equal to 4. And right now, I can probably go ahead and determine that my adult ticket is $8 because it says the adult ticket costs twice as much. So twice as much as student is 4. But if you didn't see that, you could take S and plug it back in over here. A equals 2 times S, or 2 times 4. So A is equal to $8. So adult is 8, student is 4. Okay, that is going to conclude our notes for today for lesson 5.2. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.